good time, man.
Good weather, probably a little on the warm side this weekend. Luckily, it's not on Friday. It's going to be hot on Friday, a little bit cooler on Saturday. We've got a forecast teed right up for you. So put on your plant-based sunscreen and get out there. Here's a look at your Saturday forecast at the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds. The event runs from 11 to 6 p.m. Peak heating around 2 or 3 p.m. Should get to around 80 degrees out there. So it's going to be warm. You can smell like a lot of hot vegetables out there, which is a great smell. But not too bad. So mostly sunny skies in the afternoon. We'll start off with some low clouds, maybe a few low clouds rushing in late. Probably cool off. You'll get that breeze kicking in late. Here's a live look from Domenico's on the Wharf tonight in Monterey. Pretty quiet conditions out there. Again, we've been tracking a few low clouds, but that's about it so far. But we do have some heat on the way, and that will be centered on Friday. So we've got a day in between now and this hot day, and it's really for inland areas. So I keep talking about how hot it's going to be. And I have to understand that most of our population is closer to the coast. Not everyone, obviously. We have cities inland as well. But the majority of the viewing population is actually not in this heat advisory. But many of you are. And that does include folks that live in the Santa Cruz Mountains, all of Santa Clara County, or at least the Kiowan coverage area in Santa Clara County, all of San Benito County, and all of interior Monterey County. So basically Salinas South. Right, you're under this heat advisory. So heat advisory means the temperature is going to be hot enough to impact your health in some instances, especially folks who are sensitive to it. So luckily it is a one-day event. It's the long duration heat events that really do sneak up on people and cause a lot of issues for their health. But luckily we got one day heat. It'll be warm on Saturday too, but not quite as hot. So you'll already have that cooling feeling. The overall picture showing low pressure to the south, kind of cut off, a blocked up weather pattern right now. We've got low pressure over the Rockies. It's been stormy out across the high plains and central plains over the last few days. Trough coming in across the North Pacific here, bringing some rain just on the coast of Washington, but not a lot of movement so far. What's going to happen though is this ridge to the south really starts to build in here over the next couple of days, and it's trying to sneak around this low. So we get this little slice of heat aloft, and temperatures are really going to warm up quite a bit aloft. We really get pretty hot by Friday just overhead. And while that is centered more on Northern California, we're still going to be in the midst of that as well too. So some areas of California are likely to see some record highs on Friday. I don't think we'll see any locally, but only because our record highs are pretty hot already on Friday. I think we're like 103 for King City and 90, upper 90s in Salinas, and I don't think we're quite going to get there, but it's certainly going to be warm in those locations. And then we start to see that weaken a little bit Saturday, so we'll start a cool down Saturday, and then it'll keep cooling down. Trough of low pressure will begin to dig down the coast Sunday into Monday. We'll have to see what happens. Models are kind of all over the place with this trough and a low that kind of cuts off from it. So maybe we see some precipitation next week. We're definitely going to see some cooler temperatures, but precip's kind of a low probability event. Either way, we'll keep an eye on things for you. In the meantime, we've got like a transition day in between now and then. So this is our future track overnight. A few low clouds eventually developing, filling in around the bay. Patchy fog possible by the time you head on the way out the door tomorrow morning. But I think like today, we'll get clearing on the north side of the bay and even some on the south side of the bay, at least briefly tomorrow afternoon. So overall temperatures are going to be warming up across the region by a few degrees. By about 7 degrees inland is the warm up tomorrow, and then we're going to jump another 10 to 15 degrees on Friday. So just to kind of give you an idea, we jump up to the low 80s in the San Lorenzo Valley tomorrow, and then add another 10 to 15 degrees on top of that. We're in the 90s. So pretty hot temperatures across the region by the time we get to the daytime on Friday. So on the east shore of the bay, 60s to mid 70s tomorrow, 70 degrees. You'll have to forgive me. I was reacting because there's some commotion somewhere in this building. People are running around like maniacs in the hallways, it sounds like. 84 degrees in Gilroy. I get distracted easily. I apologize. 80 degrees in Hollister. And suddenly Maxwell appears. So I knew who was at the root cause of all of that disturbance we just had. Low to mid 60s around the peninsula. And so still somewhat cool tomorrow on the peninsula, and we'll still be relatively cool on Friday as well, right along the coast, but inland areas are going to get hot, right? So we're going to add another 10 to 15 degrees. We can see that we could easily get to the triple digits in our southern valleys by the time we get to Friday afternoon. Here's that 7-day forecast on the coast. Still pretty warm on Friday, just not necessarily hot. Saturday we cool off a touch, but it's still pretty nice. More seasonable weather into next week, partly cloudy, some wind passing by. We're going to watch for rain chances. Nothing really standing out right now. Inland areas also looking pretty toasty on Friday. That's the day we got that heat advisory in place. and then we're going to drop about 20 degrees by Sunday. So hot Friday, still pretty toasty Saturday. Maxwell, we start to cool off. I hope whatever happened in the hallway is okay. I hope you're okay. It sounded like you screamed.
I may or may not have startled Austin.
Oh, he's very easy to startle, it turns out. That does make sense.
It was not intentional.
Okay, all right. Well, it got pretty loud out there.
It was yeah. Well, thank you, Dan.